Have you ever wrapped up a workday feeling completely exhausted, but also frustrated that you didn't actually accomplish anything that you felt moves the needle? I know you were busy. I don't doubt that. But were you productive? If that sounds familiar, I want you to know that you're not alone. But here's the thing, there's a simple shift that can change everything about how you work and, more importantly, how you win. Hey, and welcome to my Success Coach podcast. I'm your host, Brian Robinson, and I help driven professionals like you gain clarity, take focused action, and grow both personally and professionally. If you've ever felt like you're grinding all day, but not actually making progress, today's episode is going to be a game changer. We're talking about high impact productivity, how top performers get more done in less time without running themselves into the ground. And I'm going to walk you through a simple framework that will help you take control of your time, stay focused on what really matters, and most importantly, avoid burnout. This episode is for you if you constantly feel like there's never enough time in the day, you're working hard, but not seeing the progress that you want. You know that you need to focus on high value tasks, but you get stuck in the weeds. Well, by the end of this episode, you'll have an understanding of the difference between being busy and being productive. You'll have a clear, easy to follow method for structuring your day for maximum impact. And you'll walk away with actionable steps to work smarter, not harder. You ready? Let's go ahead and dive in. Robert Collier is credited with this quote: "Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out." This is something that I remind myself and my coaching clients of all the time. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter and more intentionally. The most successful people aren't the ones who pack their schedules with endless to dos. They're the ones who consistently focus on the right things. And today, I'll show you how to do the same. The truth is, most people think that they have a time problem. But from my experience, what they really have is a focus problem. Most people don't need more hours in the day. You need a better strategy for using the hours you already have. That's where the 3 hour work block method comes in. This method is simple. Instead of just trying to tackle everything at once, you break your work into three focus sprints each day. And here's how it works. Each block is dedicated to one impact task, completely free from distractions, and designed to produce real results. So let's go ahead and break it down. Step one is identify your high impact task. Not all tasks are created equal. The key is focusing on high value activities, the ones that actually move your business or your career forward. So here's some actionable steps to help you with this. Number one is each morning, write down your top three priorities for the day. Now, what I actually do is I actually write mine down the night before, and then each morning I just review those. But I do know a lot of my clients and a lot of people I talk to, they just rather do it that actual day. But so you can do it either way, but you write down your top three priorities for the day. Number two is ask yourself, if I only accomplish these three things, would today be a success? And then number three, eliminate or delegate anything that doesn't contribute to these priorities. So here's a coaching question for you. What's one thing you keep doing every day that isn't actually moving you forward? Once you know what you should be focusing on, the next step is structuring your time to make it happen, which brings us to step two, use the 3 hour work block method. So here's how it works. Block one, this is called deep work. This is where your deep work happens. And this takes 90 minutes. This is where your most important high focus task. This is where you would do that. Then block two, this is your focus execution. And this is about 60 minutes for this. And this is where you do your tactical tasks, the things that need execution but don't require as much brain power. And then block three is your admin and planning, which takes 30 minutes. And this is where you have your emails, your meetings, and your prep for the next day. During each block, these things, it works best when these things are present. One is eliminate distractions. So no emails, no phone calls, no social media that are a distraction to the work that you're doing in these blocks. Two is set a timer to stay locked in. And then three, take short breaks between blocks to reset. So here's actionable steps. Block one or step one is block off your calendar for these work sprints. It's important that you protect your time. Number two is start with just one focused work block per day and build up from there. Then action step number three is at the end of the day, plan tomorrow's three tasks in advance. So here's a coaching question for you with this step. What's one thing you can remove from your daily schedule to make space for deep work? So now that you're structuring your time more effectively, let's talk about staying consistent and avoiding burnout, which brings us to step number three, create a sustainable routine. So the goal isn't just to be productive once. It's to build a system that makes high impact productivity automatic. So here's how you accomplish this. Start with setting clear start and stop times. Don't let work bleed into your personal life. It's super important that you keep that boundary. Next is scheduling recovery breaks. Breaks, workouts, and personal time will increase your productivity. I know it's hard, doesn't feel like it at first, but trust me, these things will increase your productivity. Then next, track your progress. At the end of the week, review what worked and then adjust from there. If you don't track it, you don't review it, you won't know what to adjust. So here's some actionable steps to help you with this step. Number one is set a hard stop time for your workday. No exceptions. Set a hard stop time. So going into it knowing that once the time is up, there is no more, will help you step up and work harder. Number two is, or should I say work more intentionally? Number two is schedule 15 minutes at the end of each week to review what worked. And number three is use a simple planner or tracking tool to measure your progress. Super important that you measure your progress. Trust me, you're going to love when you do that. So here's a coaching question to help you with this step. What's one small change you can make today to set yourself up for long-term success? So let me tell you a little bit about why I do things the way I do and why I use this method. I used to be the guy who thought working more was the answer. I think there was probably some confidence in there. Like I took a lot of pride and had some identity into the things that I did. So of course, working more, I felt like I had to just do it. I had to make sure I pleased my boss and just work more. I grind for hours. I push myself late into the night and I would tell myself that hustling harder was the only way to succeed. And I realized that even when I started my business and started doing that intentionally, I realized I was doing the same thing. And I saw that I could be on my way to burnout. But you know what? Working like this it isn't sustainable. And worse, I wasn't actually getting ahead when I was doing this. So then I started implementing this system, protecting my deep work time. I was cutting out distractions and making sure I had clear priorities every day. The result, I started achieving more in less time. And the best part, I actually felt better doing that. I started showing up better around my friends and my family. Trust me, if this works for me and it works for my clients that I coach, it'll work for you too. Today, we talked about the difference between being busy and productive. We talked about the 3-hour work block method for maximizing your impact. And we talked about how to create a sustainable routine that prevents burnout. If you take just one thing from this episode, let it be this. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things with focused intention. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Feel free to send me an email, brian@brianrobinsoncoaching.com. And if you're ready to take this to the next level, explore coaching with me. Fill out a quick application. Let's have a free consultation to see if we're a good fit. Also, check out and join the Unstoppable email community. Both links to coaching with me and to the email community are in the description of this episode. And as always, I really appreciate you spending this time with me. Until next time, keep finding your path.